In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming pattern, not only the next 10 days like we typically do, but we're actually going to be diving into the long range pattern as well. I've been talking about an upcoming warm up coming up around the 21st time frame, which I know is hard to believe right now with how cold it is outside. But we also have plenty of folks wondering how long is that warm up expected to last. And today we're going to be talking about the potential end of that warm up in sight already, and it might return us back to a cold and snowy pattern. That's currently what we're anticipating. So let's just dive into things. Firstly, we'll take a look at our normal stuff and then dive into the longer range stuff, of course. I want to do it chronologically here. And I'm just going to take us straight to Thursday afternoon here. As you can see, we have some lighter snowfall taking place up here in the plains and portions of the Midwest. We also have some storminess up here in the Northwest as far as snowfall in the mountains, rainfall in the lower elevation areas, and then a couple of showers or snow showers across some of the east here. By the time we're reaching Friday morning time frame, this is when we have our next little storm going on. This is going to be a minor to moderate snow system. I do expect maybe 4 to 6 inches in the bullseye of this one. A general 2 to 4 for the most part for most areas. We will take a look at the total snowfall in a moment. Rest assured, but that is my current expectation. And we can see a heavier band of snowfall is expected to set up somewhere, and we're seeing it currently show up over Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey. Other models are showing it for further northward and northeast Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey, as well as southern New York. So there is some varying outlooks being posted here by some models. We see that does come to an end pretty innocently. We actually have colder air as a result of it, though, so things get even colder after this is all said and done, and we get another shot of severe Arctic air here in the east. Here in Southeast Virginia, it was actually like 19 degrees last night, which I know a lot of you are probably dealing with colder temperatures than that. It's most of us along the coast that are dealing with a little bit less cold. I know it's crazy because 19 degrees is already so cold, but people inland got a lot colder than even that. So the ocean has kept things kind of warm near the coast. Areas inland have not had the same mercy, and they've definitely dealt with a lot of severe cold over the last couple of nights. As we reach Monday on the 22nd, we can see a lot of activity building up in the west. This is kind of on the uptrend. A lot of storms taking place out there. We also have plenty of rainfall for a lot of the south central states as well. A couple of areas dealing with storminess by that time frame, just to note. By the time we're reaching Tuesday, we do see that the storm track in general is something along the lines of this. So this is what we're seeing currently, but that kind of northern jet is just separated entirely right now. We have much milder air across the west and the east by the time we're reaching the 23rd. Again, that is after that 21st date that I've been mentioning as far as when to expect that warm up to occur. So we are in the midst of it by this point. By the 24th here, we see a lot of storminess trending in here to the central states. Again, a lot of this is due to that Gulf moisture and Gulf warmth that is pushing northward here because of the cold moving out. And this leads to a lot more storminess taking place in these areas, as you can see. So a lot of precipitation, not a lot of cold, and it's explosive. I mean, look at this when I put it in pretty fast speed there. I mean, we have storm after storm after storm there for the central and eastern states. A lot of this comes towards the east coast as we reach about the 26th here. So the Gulf states up through the east coast. And finally, by this point, we actually do have some signs of more cold air trying to move southward into the east. It just doesn't succeed yet here. This is the 27th, a little earlier than we anticipated. So I'm not surprised. I think somewhere between the 28th and the 1st of February is when we're going to be watching for the return of the cold air. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but we do have some storms out west. I do want to note that as we look at this, we do actually see a pretty strong positive PNA pattern that stands for Pacific North American Oscillation, and that certainly would encourage the cold, if it's going to go anywhere, to head eastward as opposed to the west, and certainly that looks to be the case as of now. That is the end of the model run, so let's dive through these precipitation patterns, and we see above average amounts for the west. Again, I mentioned that the storminess was really building for that area. We see this explosive area of precipitation surging from the Gulf up through a lot of the Mississippi River area. Kind of just tends to correlate with that here for some reason, but right around the Mississippi River, maybe a little bit west of it, maybe a little bit east of it as well, but around that area is where we're seeing a lot of precipitation surge northward from the Gulf as a result of a lot of this warm air. Your jet stream in general Your kind of Pacific jet stream is doing something like this, whereas the northern jet is carrying onward across that more Canadian area. As we take a look at the total snowfall, we see that the Northeast is really slowing down, seeing more of an average to below average amount of snowfall over the next 10 days. We do expect that one snowstorm through here also for these areas, getting really quiet after that point though. Along the west, we do see plenty of snowfall as a result of this Pacific jet moving through. And regardless of the warmer temperatures, these mountaintops are of course going to be for the most part below freezing, and we see plenty of snowfall as a result of that. GFS seems to have full agreement. We actually do get some lake effect snowfall in here, however, but regardless, I don't see any considerable snowstorms taking place in this area. It's mostly going to be that lake effect just consistently bringing snowfall through from time to time. Now out west again, we see pretty strong amounts of snowfall out there. Here's where we're going to dive into the long range pattern. We're going to be taking a look here at basically, I want to do 1 day increments here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. It's going to be a little bit better. It's going to look a little bit less intense, but we are going to get those 1 day averages. Here's as we approach kind of the Saturday into Sunday time frame, 20th and 21st, and we see very, very potent cold air set up over the east once more. Just for reference, here's what we're dealing with right now. So potentially even more potent than what we're seeing right now for a lot of the central and eastern states there. Again, a pretty healthy looking positive PNA out here, which is just warmer temperatures along the west is all that really means. And this is causing these cooldowns to move through just like this for the time being. That polar jet really recedes and we begin to see coast to coast warmth here. Again, starting around the 21st, we see that cold air moving out. It's officially moved out by about the 23rd, and it stays that way for a while here. Again, this is the 28th, 29th. We still haven't seen the cold totally return, and it's right around here where we're seeing the turning of the tides. Between the 31st and the 1st of February, it looks like this area is considerably cooling down. We see this model trending away from the warmth long range here, again, right around the end of January into the beginning of February, and indicating a chance of more cold air intruding into the central and eastern states. Also note, again, we have this pretty considerable warm air mass over the west. That's going to help a lot to make sure that these cooldowns take aim at the east and not the west, as long as that is the case. Now, precipitation you might be curious about as well. Here's that explosive amount of precipitation, again, just moving up from the Gulf with this warm up. This is our precipitation anomalies, actually. So this is directly compared to normal. So these two areas here, the northwest, and then kind of everywhere from the Gulf northward, is the only way I could really put that, is for the most part where we're seeing above average precipitation. And it's actually a pretty considerable amount above average here. So definitely on the high side of things. And we actually, even though we start to see the cold air move in, the good news here is we still continue to see this kind of Pacific jet and all of this Gulf moisture move up the East Coast. When you combine this with the cold air moving in, this looks like really, really good signs for this region here overall to potentially see snowfall over the next, after this warm up is said and done as we approach the beginning of February. Certainly something that I'm watching for, I've been watching for, I've even been talking about it on the channel, but I really wanted to make a video today centered around that topic, and certainly this has been an exciting one. I'm sure a lot of you have been curious as we're kind of just dissecting the upcoming pattern that we're anticipating, and this was the video to really, really break it down for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe. We do upload weather videos just like this one every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.